Welcome in to the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and the University of Pikeville Bears currently 25-2, 15-1 in the Mid-South Conference, and the Bears ranked number 2 in the nation. Already wrapped up the Mid-South Conference regular season championship, and tonight we're joined by our coach. He's a National Coach of the Year. He's a Kentucky High School Championship coach, a National College Championship coach. We just call him our coach, and proud to do so, Coach Kelly Wells.
It's good to be here. We've got a lot of exciting things going on and a lot of good stuff for the show today, so we're excited about being here with you.
Mid-South Conference regular season championship. What's that mean to you personally and to the program?
Well, we've been chasing it very, very hard trying to get to this point, so to wrap it up in the fashion that we wrapped it up really makes it extremely special. I'm not so sure what the record is for being wrapped up early, but I know this is the earliest it's been wrapped up since I've been here. So it's a great accomplishment. We've got a chance to set the all-time Mid-South Conference wins record if we can take care of our last 2 home games, and that also will make us undefeated at home. So still a lot to garner at the end of this year, the regular season, but we're certainly proud of the regular season championship.
Convincing wins over Georgetown, convincing win over Cumberland's, Shawnee State University, and then Rio Grande, who was ranked in the top 20 at that time, and a game that the Bears had a 30-point lead at one point in that game. This team seems to be playing at its best basketball right now.
Well, we've gotten better defensively, and I think that's really helped in the scores of games. Years past we've had really good offensive teams. That defensive element is just not gelled together as good as it has this year for some reason, and it's not so much the percentages, defensive field goal percentage, it's just we're making the right plays at the right times, we're getting the stops at the end of the games when we need them, we're getting consecutive stops, 3 and 4 stops in a row, and offensively we're fine, but when you add that element to it, it makes this team very special.
Very special indeed, and that's why they are 25-2, 15-1, and 2 home games remaining. We'll talk about those coming up a little later, but big wins on the road. Shawnee State University and Rio Grande, no cupcakes in either of those games. Your team seemed very focused on the road.
That's surprisingly focused. I mean, obviously there was a lot at stake against Shawnee State. That wrapped up the regular season championship, and then going to Rio, who was very hungry and really were in a corner trying to get themselves a win.
Sure.
And they were very hungry to try to get that win. So it was a dominating performance by our team, and certainly moving in the right direction for us.
What does that do to Rio Grande as far as the national rankings go?
Well, it killed them. I mean, it literally took. I just read the polls. It literally took them out of the polls, not even receiving votes. That's 5 straight they've lost, and you've got a Campbellsville team who's won 7 of their last 9, who's surging, and you've got St. Catherine's who's won 5 in a row, who's surging, and of course Georgetown's second in the conference, so
Sure.
It really hurt them.
Yeah, and UPike's still number 2 in the nation.
Yeah.
The Mid-South Conference, you talked about Campbellsville and St. Catherine, just happen to be our next 2 opponents at the Expo Center. But this is a time of year when teams get hungry in the Mid-South Conference. They know what it's all about, and in particular, teams that are accustomed to going to the national tournament. They realize they have to get out of the conference tournament first.
Yeah, your back's against the wall, and you're desperate, and you've got to really play your way up. And Campbellsville, St. Catherine's last week had an overtime game that would have really shifted alignments. They would have put Campbellsville in 3rd place and St. Catherine's maybe in 5th place in that way, but it reversed it. So St. Catherine's earned the 3rd spot, and Campbellsville was limited to the 5th spot there. So it's wild. The last week will be wild.
Sure.
I'm just thankful that we've already punched our ticket.
Absolutely. And of course, Mid-South Conference regular season championship, it's the earliest I can recall a regular season champion being crowned. You're 2 weeks out from the conference tournament, and then you travel to the conference tournament. You already know you're the top seed in that tournament. You know the schedule as far as that goes. It helps there. But also, would your seeding change for the national tournament if things shake out any differently in the Mid-South Conference tournament?
Potentially, but we've been so steady all the way through. We don't want to lose any games, obviously, but we could if we lost a game. could move because there's some really good teams. I mean,
Sure.
I think I looked at there were 5 2-loss or less teams still in the polls. One of those just has 1 loss, and that's St. Marcos, who's first place. So we want to make sure we take care of business, and the last poll doesn't happen until after the conference tournament. So it does mean
Right.
a lot still, even going to Cumberland, Tennessee in that tournament.
Pleased with the way your team's playing right now?
I am pleased. I've been really thrilled. Obviously there's still room for improvement. There's things that we can do better, but we're finding ways to win differently each night against different kinds of teams, against different kinds of philosophies, and I've been really proud of them. I think it rose to every occasion that has been put in front of us.
Bruce Reed, second time this season, is Mid-South Conference Player of the Week. You have that going on. He averages 19 points, 5 rebounds a game in 3 games, in 3 wins since the last week's honor. And then you've got a guy like Josh Whitaker, who has stepped up and had a career high. How about that?
Well, that's kind of been our team, and we talk to them all the time. We don't need any heroes. We just need a great team, and we sometimes miss out on individual awards because we are a good team,
Sure.
and that's important to me. And individuals don't win championships. That's just the way it is. Now, everybody on the team has a different role, but when we're playing our best and we're playing together, we have 5 double-figure scorers. We have 3 + 8 + 9 rebounders. We
Right.
have a couple guys that are at least 3 to 1 assist to turnover, and that's a complete team, and I really feel like we've got that.
Absolutely. And our guest tonight on the Kelly Wells Show, one of those guys that has been a measure of consistency. He's been near the leading scorer in practically every UPike game this season. Keala King joins us, and we'll talk with him, get a visit with a guy who can score, one of the smoothest lefties that we've seen all year.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, when you watch him play, it just comes easy. And some people, basketball is a tough thing for him, and Key's not one of those guys.
No.
It really comes easy to him. And if you put a finger on what he does best, it's his all-around play.
Sure.
I mean, there's nothing in the game that he can't play. There's really not a position he can't play. And with the exception of the post play, he hasn't been a 5-man, but he's played every other position on the floor at some point for us and done it admirably.
Done a little research today on some of his numbers, talking about his career. Do you realize that he had a 20-plus rebound game at some point? Maybe he can play the post.
Now, he's had 9 a couple times for us, even here.
Yeah.
And he's athletic and strong enough to do that. His future is obviously not going to be a post player, but he certainly can help us there, and certainly does a great job with our team. And his versatility is something that we really
Yes.
cherish.
Absolutely is. Great part of a team that is the University of Pikeville Bears. It's been an exciting year, and we've got more to come. We'll take a look at highlights from the past week. We'll take a look at the games coming up this week as we wind down the regular season at home at the Expo Center. We'll step into the Bears Den. We'll meet Keala King. You're tuned to the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. We're back right after this.
Hey now, come on, let's go. The music's playing, I've got to move on to go out. No more delaying, pack my things up, carefree, adventures waiting. I'm heading out to see the rest of the world.
Back in the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, joined by the head coach of the number 2 ranked team in the nation. UPike currently 25-2, 15-1 in the Mid-South Conference, and wins coming off last week on the road, Shawnee State, and then top 20 opponent Rio Grande. We're going to take a look at some highlights from Rio Grande, and it seemed to be the perfect storm. You've got Rio, a very hungry team, ranked in the top 20. Your team came out very focused in this game. We've talked about that, maybe as focused as they could be. And they had already wrapped up the Mid-South Conference regular season championship. And I know that had to be a concern with you, is they realize that. The championship's wrapped up. We've got the top seed in the tournament. Do we really need to bother? And one of the best efforts of the year.
Yeah, they figured it out. They want to win. They want to be as good as they can be, and I've learned to build a little bit more trust in their approach and they're getting their readiness. And we handled the road well, and certainly played extremely well under tough circumstances, because Rio's back was definitely against the wall, and they came out, really competed, but we were focused in, dialed in, and things went well for us from start all the way to finish.
I know you've had experience with mature teams in the past. This team seems to show a lot of maturity, and it seems to come at every position.
Most times, yeah, they've been very mature for the most part. We're humans, we make mistakes.
Sure.
But, certainly have really responded well under most circumstances this year. We have only stubbed our toe twice, and both of those were on the road against very good teams.
Right.
The rest of the time, we've been mature enough, even when we didn't play well, to find a way to win and to find a way to be successful. And I've always said that it's better to learn from a win than learn from a loss any day. And we've done some learning throughout, but it's certainly gotten us to this point where we're a successful team and hoping to make a great end run here.
No doubt about it. 2 games coming up at the Expo, Thursday and Saturday this week. We want to invite you there as the Bears are looking to close out a record-setting performance in the Mid-South Conference Tournament. Right now, let's take a look back at some highlights from the win over Rio Grande, then a top 20 team in the country. We'll get things started with our guest tonight, Keala King.
Yeah, great out-of-bounds play here. Certainly a great feed to Bruce Reed, who really does a good job. We've talked about stretching the floor, and a great elbow jump shot. Here we come out off of a defensive stop, force a miss. Chris Cantini with a great rebound outlet. And I like our situation with Elijah with the basketball up here. And, he does a great job coming right over to Josh Whitaker, who comes off a drag screen. Great lift and go. Finish with a lot of contact there, which could have been a free throw as well, but a great rim finish by Bruce. Here we are off our drag series. Another great drive. Elijah with a tough contested shot, but found a way to really get that drop right over top of the defense and into the basket. Again, another drag play for us right here. Hits Keala short corner, and again showing his versatility with a little mid-range jump shot with that sweet left hand. And
Shoots it.
Certainly got a nice 2 out of that.
Shoots it well from 3, and that time with it showing the mid-range.
Yeah, here we are in transition again. Keala with a great dunk in transition from a great pass from Josh Whitaker leading the break. And again, back to our drag series options. And Elijah living in the paint, did a great job of getting in there, and Bruce stretching the defense out again with another 3. He's really gotten more consistent with that 3-point shot as the seasons went on. Again, side out of bounds play here with our drag series. Josh done a great job of penetrating, gets the ball to the wing. It's something we haven't taken as much advantage of here lately is our inside out game, and Bruce does a great job of getting double teamed and kicking it out to Josh Whitaker, who nailed a 3, who played great in this Rio Grande game as well. Here we are with some good stymie defense off the glass in transition where we're tremendous. Josh Whitaker finds a great feed to KJ with a great finish and forces Rio to call timeout here. Again, more of our high ball screen action. Anytime we get that ball in a high post, I really like our chances. And KJ makes a great feed into Chris, and Chris with a little left shoulder hook was well defended, but still found a way to make a great shot here. And again, some more inside out work. In the half court, goes inside, kicks out the key with a great strong move, and again, that's a professional finish. Getting fouled, finishing body contact, and putting it in with his offhand. If you notice, he used his right hand that time instead of his left.
I think he's ambidextrous. He can use both.
He can certainly do it. Here's Josh Whitaker again, just dialed in, focused effort. Ended up with 26, and probably should have had 30, but did a great job of getting to the basket. Here we forced a tough shot, and EJ with a great rebound. Unselfish play here, kind of beat it around a little bit, but a great little touch pass by KJ to Key, and another right-hand finish for him at the basket. Some more great defense. Josh just robbed him, and here comes EJ being way too unselfish, and finds Keala with a trail spot. Could have had a layup himself. A very unselfish play. Found Key for a nice little right-hand finish. Here we are back in action again. Here's Colt Chapman with a great mid-range jump shot that we work on every day with him, and I was glad to see him have some success and forced Rio to call yet another timeout here. Some more ball screen action with Josh and Bruce coming off, and Josh Whitaker dialed in, focused right to the rim. Great finish and a foul. Some more great defense, kind of a common theme here. EJ with the thief and Josh with a layup out front. They're a dynamic duo. They do a good job. Here we are, then Rio trying to press us a little bit, and Josh Whitaker and EJ just gut it and find Colt for another short corner jump shot he's been working on. Not the greatest shot in the world on that possession, but a great hustle play by Mike and A. Gets it and one. Had 11 points, 8 rebounds for the big man from Nigeria. I was really proud of him. He was close to a double-double. Here's KJ being unselfish, finding Elijah in the corner for a sweet 3 off an assist. That's the way we like to score, off assists. Here Rio playing some good defense, forcing us in a double team. The Bears handle it all just fine, and high post entries are always good, especially when they go to Bruce Reed. Got a nice,
Absolutely.
easy and one out of it.
Yeah, the and one, Elisha gets the assist as well. We mentioned earlier Josh Whitaker, career high in that game, seemed to play with as much confidence in that game as we've seen him play.
Oh, he had great, ready energy. I mean, he was on his game. He missed 6 free throws. He could have had 30 very easy. And actually, they had a technical foul at the half, and we put Josh in to shoot the free throw. That's how much confidence we have in him. And he missed 6 consecutive free throws after that point. I thought he probably lost that job. But certainly a great night for him and a great night for everybody. And that just shows the versatility of this team. Anybody can beat you on any night.
Absolutely. One of those guys that can beat you any given night, Keala King. He's our guest in the Bears Den tonight, and we'll talk with him when we come back. UPike 25-2, 15-1 in the Mid-South Conference at the Expo Center Thursday night. And we'll host Campbellsville University, St. Catherine's on Saturday, a 4 p.m. tip-off. You're invited and encouraged to see this team set to make a special run through the conference and national tournaments. Your UPike Bears, and they are coached by Kelly Wells. It is the Kelly Wells Show presented by Appalachian Wireless. We'll be back right after this.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living. And the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
Welcome back in. It is the Kelly Wells Show presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, and we give the coach a break. We step into the Bears Den and we talk with one of the student athletes that are part of the University of Pikeville men's basketball program. Of course, Keala King, 6'5", senior guard out of Compton, California. Now our guest in the Bears Den. And Keala, welcome to the Coach Kelly Wells Show.
Thank you.
We will talk basketball. You've got a long and storied story about your basketball career, but let's talk about the student, Keala King. Your academic major, what you plan to do in the future?
I major in communications broadcasting. Basically, I just want to be a sports agent with that major. Basketball happens to not work out and I end up getting injured. I want to be something like you, basically,
right.
And, talk about sports.
Sure. So you and I were talking off the break a little bit, and certainly you're well versed. You watch SportsCenter at every opportunity.
Yes, of course.
There you go. And that's what communication majors do, those that want to go into sports broadcasting. But Keala, let's also talk about your basketball career. Let's talk about when you first played organized basketball, because you come from a little different neighborhood than many that say Elisha Justice that comes from the mountains of eastern Kentucky. Let's talk about that, growing up in Compton, California.
Well, it all started at a nearby park around the corner from my neighborhood. An AAU coach was just happened to stop by and was, recruiting for a little bit, and he happened to see me, and that's basically how it started. And just during that process, I really didn't have a father or anyone, to guide me through the process of recruiting and going to college. So
Sure.
I really didn't have, too much guidance and all that to, basically get me in the best predicament I can get with this basketball.
Right. How old were you then?
I was about 10 when the recruiter came, but, I started really playing organized basketball, once I got to high school and started at Dominguez High School.
Sure. And, of course, later in your high school career, I guess ESPN had you rated as one of the top 30 players in the nation. There were some big-time programs that were recruiting you at that time, including those that are familiar with this program in this area. They're Kentucky fans, and Kentucky was after Keala King at that time. You chose Arizona State. Let's talk about the journey to Arizona State and beyond.
Well, I enjoyed this journey coming from 2 other schools. My first school was Arizona State. Unfortunately, it didn't work out there, so it caused me to moving back home. My mother was actually sick throughout the process of leaving Arizona State,
Sure.
so that made me want to, go home and closer to home to be with my mother. But Long Beach State didn't work out either, and
Right.
I wished both of the teams the best, and I ended up coming to Pikeville thanks of Eric Richardson. I was playing in a Drew League game, and that particular Drew League game, I happened to have Player of the Week, and he saw me.
Sure.
And I kid you not, the next day, Coach Compton calls Eric Richardson looking for a guard.
Right.
And, you know, I happened to be released from Long Beach State already, and he just was like, yeah, I have a kid, Kiala, that's just released from Long Beach State. I think he's looking for a school.
Right.
And at that time, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about coming back to school only because of my two situations with Long Beach State and Arizona State.
Sure.
But I just followed my heart, and the way Coach Ty and Taylor were saying how Pikeville was, I was like, man, I just want to try school again.
Right.
And here I am.
Compton, California, it's a little different setting than Pikeville, Kentucky. We're a little bit rural. Compton, California is not. Let's talk about your first visit to Pikeville and maybe what your reaction was to the area.
I came off the plane and the weather hit me.
Yes.
I was actually in a t-shirt because I was dressed like I was back home in California.
Sure.
And I kid you not, it was about 30 degrees that day, and I was like, Coach Taylor, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So that basically put it there for me, you know, getting used to this weather.
Right.
And basically getting used to the new bunch of kids that I'm going to be playing with, the new players and stuff like that.
Small town, Pikeville. Of course, a growing university, a lot of opportunities, and a tremendous basketball program, and former national coach of the year. How much did that play into your decision to come to Pikeville?
That actually played a lot. I remember one day Coach Taylor sent me a picture image of the gym, and that brought me just like that. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a U-Pike. That's me.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to see. A facility like that, it has to be big time. And then, you know, I did my research on Coach Kelly Wells, and besides the two major D1 coaches, he's one of the top coaches in Kentucky, and that just sold me there. And, you know, I really wanted to show everyone that I can play in college and be coachable.
Right. Kiala King, your plans for the future when you wrap up your career here at U-Pike after a national championship?
I haven't even thought about that right now. I'm just thinking about winning and keeping this season going the way it is. I really don't know what I'm doing, but all I know is, you know, I just want to play for a championship, and we could discuss after that.
All right, we'll schedule the show somewhere near the end of March this year, okay? Once we wrap up our trip to Kansas City, bring home the big hardware, we'll talk about what you plan to do in the future. This team seems very focused heading down the stretch. 25-2, a couple of losses earlier that have been avenged. A loss to Georgetown, a loss to Life, and very focused going back into those games. But this team seems very focused at this point. From the locker room, from a player's perspective, is that what's on the mind of the players?
We have one thing on our mind, is just to win, because Coach Kelly Wells, he emphasizes every day the season can be predicted by what we want it, you know? And basically, with the NAIA and all this, if you lose one game, it can be the starting point of a good season or a bad season. So we just want to just keep winning and let that predict for us.
You've played for a couple of Division I programs. Is there as much talent on this team as those teams you played for?
If I was to say this team, this probably has been the best team I've played on so far. I mean, just with the group of guys. I've never been on a team I can socially, you know, and be involved with everyone from Trey Rakes to Josh Whitaker to Eli. I've never been on a team I can actually, you know, name everybody on the team.
Right.
And that's something I really adore and really, truly love.
Are you truly right-handed?
No.
Okay, because we've seen some highlights. We've seen it during the course of your career here at the U-Pike. You're left-handed, natural left-handed, but we've seen you use your right hand very well. And I was just curious if at some point someone had tied that left hand behind your back because you use it almost as if you're a natural right hand.
Well, actually, I broke both of my hands, both of my wrists, so I actually know how to write with both of my hands.
There you go.
So I just play what the defense give me. You know, I'm a lefty, so they force me right, I go right. And if they want to force me left, I just go to my strong hand. So,
Keala King, let's go get a championship.
yes, sir.
Let's wrap it up with some wins, starting this Thursday at the Expo Center. And, of course, Campbellsville University, then St. Catherine's, the Mid-South Conference Tournament. That's a goal, I know.
Yes, sir.
Then we'll see you in Kansas City cutting down the nets.
Yes, sir.
Keala King, our guest in the Bears Den on this edition of the Kelly Wells Show. Coach Wells returns after this. We'll get a quick scout on St. Catherine and Campbellsville coming up. The Kelly Wells Show is presented by Appalachian Wireless.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
Welcome back in the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. The Bears, number 2 in the nation, 25-2, 15-1 in the Mid-South Conference. And coming up Thursday, Campbellsville University at the Expo. Saturday, St. Catherine at the Expo. You wrap it up with 2 home games. Senior Day, of course, coming up for U-Pike, and I know that's a special time. But, Coach, quick scout, Campbellsville and St. Catherine, we've already touched on earlier, both very hungry for wins.
They are, and we played them so long ago. It's almost like a different team. Both of us are doing different things. Campbellsville's won 7 out of their last 9. St. Catherine's won their last 5. So we've got to be ready to play, and we need all our fans to be here. Senior night's going to be on Saturday. Tons of festivities going on Thursday and Saturday. We need everybody out that can get there, and you won't be disappointed. Let's really help this group send them off the right style. They've really represented us well.
Last 2 opportunities for many that can't travel to Tennessee for the Mid-South Conference Tournament or Kansas City for the National Tournament. Could be your last 2 opportunities to see this team. And Coach Wells, we plead with the Rowdy Bears. Get out there, be rowdy, get loud, and let's let everyone in the building know that the Rowdy Bears are in the house.
No question. They've been great, and they'll continue, and I know the crowd will come support. And these are the last 2 times you get to see us, other than you travel to Cumberland, Tennessee or Kansas City, and the rest you're going to have to read about or listen to it.
You got it. And listen to it, indeed. We'll have you covered all the way through the Mid-South Conference Tournament and the National Tournament, your official home for U-Pike Athletics, Z1075. Let's wrap it up with a couple of wins at home. Go get a Mid-South Conference Tournament championship. Head to Kansas City and cut down some nets.
A few more steps, but we're excited about them.
Absolutely. Coach Kelly Wells, head coach of your number 2 ranked team in the nation, the U-Pike Bears. Thursday night at the Expo Center with Campbellsville University. Saturday with St. Catherine in town at the Expo as the Bears wrap up the regular season. You've been tuned to the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.